Hello, I welcome you in this video, a biology video. Here we'll be talking about a topic called homeostasis. Now, before we go straight into this topic, we're going to define what homeostasis is, okay? So homeostasis is a combination of two words, okay? It's actually a combination of two words. You have this part and this part. This O is simply used to combine the two. Most vowels are used to combine the two. These are terms or roots that make up a word. So the first word home was derived from the word homo. Okay, and whenever you hear the word homo, what should come in your mind is that it means same. Then stasis comes from the word static. That can mean something that is constant. Okay, something that is not changing. Okay, something that is not changing. So that's how this word came about, homeostasis. Okay, so homeostasis looks at your body, the human body. Okay, it looks at the human body. So you can talk about the body of the human being, and then the body of a human being or the body of any animal, it has a skin that surrounds this. Now inside of the body, okay, the inside of the body, I'm going to use this word which is here. The inside of the body is called the internal environment. Okay, the internal environment, and we're going to see where we're going here. So homeostasis, simply same or constant. Okay, so defined as the maintenance of a constant internal environment. Okay, maintaining the environment of the inside body constant. Okay, so what we're saying, the human body has got an internal environment. Okay, everything inside the human body is what we are calling an internal environment. Okay, and this internal environment involves it involves a number of things. Okay, we'll come to this later. So the internal environment involves the blood is inside the body, inside the blood vessels, and also the human body is made up of water. Okay, and many other things. All these make up what we call the internal environment. Okay, the internal environment. So homeostasis tries to maintain the environment inside the body in a constant state. Okay, I'll say in a constant state. It tries to maintain these in a constant state. Okay, so homeostasis is just the way the body tries to maintain its own internal environment in a constant state. I'm sure you've heard most of the times when you go to the hospital, they'll check your body temperature, and it has to be somewhere around 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, so why is the human body, why is it supposed to be always around this? Okay, somewhere around this value. Okay, this is how the body does. Okay, this is what we are calling homeostasis. Okay, maintenance of a constant internal environment. Okay, maintenance of a constant internal environment. Okay, so it's not just temperature, but many other things. They have to be maintained in a constant internal environment. So we're going to talk about certain things that are very, very important, things that you've probably heard of. Okay, we're going to talk about number one. Let's talk about certain conditions, and I'll talk about this condition we call BP, which is high blood pressure. So BP can either be high, what we call high blood pressure, or it can either be low, what we call low blood pressure. Then we also have what we call sugar. Okay, what we call sugar, high levels of this sugar is called diabetes. Okay, these are conditions that we are aware of diabetes, okay, a condition where there is too much sugar in the body. So we have many other conditions, but just these I want to explain something. So the blood pressure here is found inside the blood pressure. We're simply looking at blood, okay, the the pressure the pressure of blood, okay. Then diabetes, here we're simply looking at sugar levels in the body, So now this blood pressure, we have a normal blood pressure, and when it is high, it is away from the normal. Even when it is low, it is away from the normal. So you have what we call the normal state. You have what we call the normal state. So now the normal state is simply the normal environment, or what we call a homeostatic environment. Okay, so normal, we call this homeostatic. We are just going to call this as homeostatic. So this is O, homeostatic. Okay, homeostatic. So this is normal. So when your BP is normal, we say it is at homeostatic. Even when your sugar levels are normal, we say it is at homeostatic. Okay, even when your body temperature, we also talk about the body temperature. Even when your body temperature is normal, we are saying it is homeostatic. Okay, so this is what we call homeostatic. So now this temperature sometimes can be low, and this is what the clinicians at the clinic, they have to find out your body temperature. Is it high or is it low? Sugar levels, they have to find out, is it high or low? BP, they have to find out, is it high? And these are things that are taken just there at the point of care service. When you go to the hospital, the clinic, they'll measure your BP, they'll measure your temperature. Okay, so these are very important. They are markers that can tell us whether the body is in homeostatic environment or not. Okay, so homeostasis is defined as the maintenance of a constant internal environment. So the internal environment has to be maintained at a constant, okay? It must always be the same, okay? Your body should always be in the normal levels. The BP should be at normal level. The sugar should be at normal level. The temperature should be at normal level. This is what homeostasis actually does. So if we continue on with the definition, homeostasis involves the regulation. What is to regulate? It controls the body temperature. Okay, so the controlling of the body temperature is called thermoregulation. So homeostasis controls the body temperature. It has to control it, maintain it at what? 37 degrees Celsius. But even 36 point something is considered to be normal. Okay, so it has to be close to this value. So that is thermoregulation. If I ask what is thermoregulation, you say it is the regulation of the body temperature. Also, it needs to regulate the amount of water in the body. The amount of water in the body has to be maintained, and this is called osmoregulation. The amount of blood sugar, I've already explained, also needs to be maintained, and also the body needs to remove certain wastes in the body, okay, via excretion. So this is just in simple terms how we can define or understand homeostasis. The maintaining of the constant internal body. What are we trying to maintain? The body temperature. We're trying to maintain the amount of water, the amount of salts. We're trying to maintain the amount of sugar in the blood, and also we're trying to maintain the amount of toxic waste that are in the body. Okay, so that is what homeostasis deals with. Okay, so there are many organs that are involved in dealing with these things. So what we are looking at here are just some of the organs that are working in our body to maintain the internal environment at a constant. Okay, so number one here, what you can see here is the human liver. Okay, so the human liver deals with removing of this toxic metabolic waste, and also it works hand in hand with the kidneys. Most of these are passed out as urine. Okay, so these are the kidneys. Okay, the kidneys like this is just an example of an implanted kidney when maybe one kidney stops working. But the kidneys are very important in controlling the internal environment of the body at a constant, that is the regulate amount of water in the body. That's why when you take in a lot of water, you have to pass it out as urine. That's the job of the kidneys. Okay, so that the kidneys, once urine goes into the blood and then it is passed out, so they regulate amount of water in the body and other fluids. This is called osmoregulation. So osmoregulation, what you can say is that it is done by the what? The kidneys. Okay. Then the temperature, the body temperature, most of the times it is controlled by, this is the structure of the skin. It is controlled by the skin. Okay. And also regulation of blood, also this is done by the pancreas, which is here. Okay. It's connected to the kidney. We'll come to that. And what else here? Temperature, we said the skin, the lungs, they also regulate temperature, they also regulate amount of water. Okay, so we're going to look at how these organs are working in the body to just maintain the body at a constant rate. So we're going to start with thermoregulation. This is the maintenance of a constant body temperature. So now we have moved away from internal environment. We're now dealing with each environment at a time. So we're looking at the body temperature. So it has to be maintained. The temperature of the human body must be kept around 37 degrees Celsius because that is what we call the optimum temperature for its enzymes. So we're saying that most of the enzymes in our body, for them to work well, the temperature of the body needs to be around 37 degrees Celsius. If the temperature goes lower than 37 degrees Celsius, the enzymes become less active. If the temperature is too high, the enzymes become denatured and the body won't function well. Okay, so body heat is normally generated by metabolic reactions in the liver and through shivering. Okay, when you're shivering, you're creating heat. That's why I find that most of the times when it becomes so cold, your body will start shivering to generate heat in your body. So body heat may be lost through the following processes: expiration from the surface of the lungs, sweating, conduction, radiation, excretion, egestion. So the regulation of the body temperature is mainly carried out by the skin under the control of the structure of the skin. Okay, so the skin controls. So let's see how it does. So this is how the skin actually looks like when it is zoomed in. We'll come to this. So the mechanism of thermoregulation by the skin. So when it is cold, the skin will reduce. So when it is cold, you find that we don't want the internal environment of the body to also become cold. Okay, that will stop enzymes from working. So the skin, how does it control this? So the skin reduces loss of heat in the following ways: the erector muscles contract, there is vasoconstriction, the shunt vessels that are open, the sweat glands become less active or inactive. And let's look at what that means. So we're saying the erector muscles contract. Now when this muscle contracts, let's find the erector muscle here. So the erector muscle here, I can think of this one here, hair erector muscle, which is this muscle here. So once this muscle contracts, let's see what will happen. Once this muscle contracts, if this muscle contracts, it's going to pull this part. Okay, and this hair muscle, this hair is going to stand upright. Okay, it's going to stand upright. So this is happening when it's very cold. So when it's cold, you find that most of your hair on the skin needs to stand upright. And why do they stand upright? So that they create a layer. Okay, so the air here gets trapped and it creates a certain layer so that the heat is not lost to the surroundings, so that heat is just trapped inside the human body here. So this is what happens. So find that when it's very cold, your hair will actually stand tall. Okay, and you can also see that you're going to come out some goosebumps. Okay, when it's very cold, it shows that these hair erector muscles have actually contracted and the hair follicles are standing upright like that. Okay, so the hairs are upright, the erector traps a layer of air which insulates. So this layer that I was talking about here, it will insulate the skin. It acts like an insulator. It traps a lot of air here, which will act more like a blanket on your skin. Okay, so that is how the heat is lost. It prevents the heat loss. So the contraction of the air erector muscle leads to the development of goosebumps. I've already explained that. Vasoconstriction. So the blood vessels now that carry blood. Okay, let's see what happens in this case. You have blood vessels that are carrying blood. Okay, so the one we can talk about is this is a blood vessel here. Okay, here this is a blood vessel. So now this blood vessel here, remember there is blood that is passing, and blood is what is carrying heat, and then it comes like this. So what happens is that these blood vessels, they are going to vessel. We call vessel. Vessel simply means blood vessel, and then we call it vasoconstriction. So what is to constrict? Meaning the blood vessels simply become thin. Okay, the blood vessels will simply become thin. Once they become thin, blood won't be able to pass. Once they become thin, blood won't be able to come all this way. Okay, so if these blood vessels become thin like that, blood will be shunted. Okay, it won't be able to go all the way, because once blood reaches here, the heat can be lost easily to the surrounding. So the blood vessels will vasoconstrict. They will become thin. Okay, they will become thin. So the narrowing of skin arterioles occurs to reduce the amount of blood passing through the skin. The blood vessels also shunt. To shunt is to make a corner. So you find that as the blood is supposed to go all the way up, but instead of it going all the way up, because once it reaches here, the heat is taken out, so the blood will shunt here and just go like this. Okay, meaning no heat will be lost. So that is what we call shunting. And then the sweat glands become less active. Okay, the sweat glands become less active. Which are the sweat glands? So this is where sweat comes out of the skin. So when it's cold, you don't sweat very much. You only sweat when it's hot. So this is because when it's cold, these sweat glands, they close. Okay, so sweat is not lost. So what we're saying is that the sweat glands become less active to minimize loss of heat, which can occur through sweating. Just imagine when it is cold, one thing that will happen, you have goosebump. What does the goosebump tell you? That your hairs now are upright, because the erector muscles are contracted, the blood vessels have constricted, the shunt vessels open, and then you are not going to be sweating. Okay, so that's what happens. So let's look at now what happens when it's hot. So when it's hot, it's just the opposite here. Instead of the air muscles standing upright, they'll actually need to lay down. Okay, so you find that the hair that is upright. Okay, the hair that is upright. Okay, so your hair was like this, it will just go down like this. Okay, so the erector muscle is here contracted, but here we're going to say that it relaxes, so causing the air to lie on the skin. This will increase heat loss. Vasodilation is the opposite of vasoconstriction. Your blood vessels, instead of becoming thin, they will become more wide. Okay, so they will become more wide. That's what we're saying here, that these blood vessels will become big enough. Why do they become big enough like this? So that because it's hot, to remove some heat. Okay, also these hairs will lie flat like this, so that heat can be lost. Okay, heat can be lost. What else will happen? these shunt vessels here, they'll close, just the opposite of what we were talking about. And then when it's hot, the sweat pores here will open to remove sweat. So sweat will come out together with some heat. Okay, so this is what happens. That's how the skin controls. So what you need to know is the erector muscles. You need to know about vasoconstriction, all these, just the opposite. Sweat glands become more active and produce more sweat when it's hot. Then we're going to look at blood sugar regulation and other things in our next video, but for now we've just looked at thermoregulation, how the body controls maintains the temperature at 7 degrees Celsius.